Welcome back to our community. Susie Thomas visiting with Jennifer Hill, executive coach. We're learning about emotional intelligence and how to find our career path and how that blends so well with our life path. We're talking a little bit about leadership as well, and that's a topic that interests you. Why is that, Jen?
So, being in the mental health field, I was never taught leadership skills, bluntly put. So, with a master's degree, you go into this world of mental health, which is a whole entity that is a very big struggle, not only here within Stark County, but globally. And I moved into leadership roles and had opportunities to lead, but didn't know really what I was doing, right? Reading a lot of books, asking a lot of questions, which I'm sure I annoyed a lot of people. But getting the training that I thought I needed or was available to me at that time, but still never really feeling competent, right, to truly lead a group of people. And that was something that always was a challenge for me. And I wondered, do other people feel this way? You know, do they feel lost? Or are we all just kind of faking it until we make it, right? That statement is often very true. And so I would ask people who were in front of me, and they would be honest and say, I'm not really sure either. I'm trying to make it through. So when I transitioned into the consulting world, again, I had the honor and the opportunity to be able to work with leaders from all over the globe, right? From Germany to the U.S. to Switzerland, all over, literally all over the globe. My husband will tell you I traveled way too much. But I got to see, what does leadership look like? But more importantly, how do we measure it? You know, what are the behaviors? So where that came from for me was I didn't see it. And it wasn't because people didn't want to show it or they didn't want to be leaders, but they weren't really sure what that looked like for them. So now not only do I have the opportunity to be around individuals who are strong leaders, but now with research, but also face-to-face interaction, I know what leadership looks like. And then we can, you know, incorporate that into day-to-day conversations or into executive coaching, or there's opportunities, you know, to be able to be exposed and have experiences related to leadership, even here in Stark County.
What does leadership look like? What are the behaviors?
So there are some key ones that I always go to, but I will say, before I list off some of my own thoughts, it depends on your role. Oftentimes people think that leadership is a leader of people, but I'm a big proponent of leadership could be a leader of process or a leader of ideas, right? A leader of challenging thoughts, perhaps. There's different types of leadership. So there are different characteristics for different types of leadership, but I would say number one, communication is so critical, right? You have to, again, it's that emotionally intelligent piece, knowing yourself, and then how do you communicate with others? How do you play a little bit of taekwondo or perhaps some acrobatic communication, right? Moving from back and forth and left and right based upon what is in front of you. I think that's a key component of leadership. I personally will see the best leaders, in my opinion, be innovative and strategic. And when I say innovation, I don't mean they're coming up with some witty invention per se, but perhaps just a different way of thinking, right? A different way of doing, just saying why or what if. That to me looks like leadership, whether you are leading your children or you're leading a Fortune 5 organization, doesn't matter to me. You should always be saying why, thinking innovatively. And that third piece of strategic, I also think that is a critical piece. So being willing to flex and to move, but being able to think forward and what are the steps ahead that we should watch out for or we should grasp onto.
Does everybody have some type of leadership quality in them? What about somebody who says, I don't want to be a leader? Does that exist too?
So I believe that everyone does have some form of leadership skill within them. I think it depends upon how much we're focusing on it. And again, I think oftentimes people say, I don't want to be a leader because they think that they have to take 20 people beside them and say, now I'm a leader. And even personally, I'm happy right now in a season in my life to not lead people. I'm okay with that. But leadership to me is being an example to my son. That's leadership.
Absolutely, yes.
You know, it's being an example to other people of being a volunteer in the community. That's leadership. So again, different characteristics based upon what type of leadership we're looking at. So if that person says, I'm not a leader, no way, Jose, I would say, actually, you probably are, because you're doing something. Whether you're leading your household or you're leading a company, you're doing something day to day. And it may not be intentional, but perhaps it's something that we need to explore to see what is that thing or that process or that family, perhaps, that you're leading. And let's embrace that. It's part of that knowing yourself.
It doesn't necessarily mean being first at something, although
Right.
that could be it. I've heard somebody say, be careful, though, because you might be, if you're first and you're out there and no one else is doing it, then maybe you're not leading. Maybe you're just
Right.
out taking a walk because there's nobody behind you
Yes.
following. Do you have to make sure you have followers to be a leader?
Not always. I will say I do like that statement. I might have to steal it,
ahead.
but not necessarily, because it's that innovative thought that is also a part of leadership. So there may be times when people go, I don't think so. When really, if you've done your homework, if you're looking into it, you're being strategic, you know why you're doing what you're doing, and you've thought through it, you've thought about the barriers, you've thought about the steps, and you have the passion and the dedication behind it, I say go for it. Because if we challenge those people that have no one behind them, guess what? We wouldn't have entrepreneurs. We wouldn't have new things going on. There's so many wonderful things going on in this community. We could use the hall as an example, but we could use little examples that aren't really little, but we compare them to the hall as being little examples where people just said, you know what? I want to do this differently. And everyone said, you're crazy. You can't do that. You can't.
Because we've never done it that way before.
Exactly. But guess what? Those are the things that really make a big difference.
Yes. Talk about Leadership Stark County. You've obviously gotten involved with that. Let's talk about that a bit.
What a wonderful organization it is. So prior to starting at Leadership, there was a part of me that was missing, right? I had to do some self-inventory and identified that really my heart is locally minded. I always say I have a global mindset, but a local passion. And when I was looking and assessing my calendar, my debit card transactions, my engagement with other people, I couldn't honestly say that I was connected in the community to the capacity that I wanted. So I always tease Stephanie Warren, who's the director of Leadership Stark County, that I may or may not have stalked her just a little bit, of course, jokingly, but built a relationship with her. And Fran Wells, who was the previous director, she has since retired. And so I knew, wait a minute, there may be an opportunity to do what I do best, leadership development, here in Stark County. So Stephanie went out on a limb and she said, I'm gonna hire this person who maybe is gonna challenge me or think about things a little bit differently. And it's just now 2 years that I've been with Leadership Stark County, and we're in our 31st year.
That's unbelievable. I remember them just getting it started and thinking, oh, good, that's a nice thing.
Yeah. That's a little different. Who's behind them? And now here we are.
31 years of it.
So we have many, many programs for all different types of individuals. Yes. So we have our flagship program, which is our signature class. So this is a 10-month, we essentially say a year-long commitment. So one time a month, you spend a full day learning about a specific topic in our community, whether it's Justice Day or human services or asset building. All different types of events go within that day. But you have 10 days that you're learning about the community, and that is something that actually starts in September, ends in June. We have the Spotlight program, which is for the young professionals. We run that twice a year. We actually have applications open right now. We'll be starting in September. So that's a 6-class course that you'll be learning about different aspects within the community as well. A large part of the YP program or the Spotlight program is a service project where you're connected to a nonprofit. But more importantly, we're learning about some issues within the community. For example, this session is going to be focused on infant mortality and the strides that we have taken, but also the things that we still need to do. And oftentimes, if it's not close to your home, you don't understand what is really going on. So we focus on that aspect in the community as well.
What would be the advantage of being involved in one of those programs as opposed to the other program?
So I say there's advantages to both, right?
How do you choose?
So for our Spotlight program, this is something that maybe you don't have as much time, to dedicate to our signature program. And honestly, it has a little bit to do with experience as well. Our Spotlight class, the median age is like late 20s. I don't know the exact right now because we're adjusting our updated age range. But for the Signature program, 42 is the median age.
Okay.
So the Spotlight program is more for individuals who are emerging leaders, or maybe they're new in their leadership role and they need to be connected in the community because maybe they don't know much about Stark County. And the Signature program is really the in-depth focus that is for individuals who are currently leading, whether it's process or people.
So coming up, when do each of the next classes begin?
So our applications are closed for our 31st class for our Signature program, but in February we take applications, again, for our Signature class. We're taking applications right now for our kickoff at the end of September for Spotlight. December will be our Government Academy, which is also another program. We have Encounter Bus Tour, which is on October 18th. So if you just want to do a whirlwind tour one day of Stark County, that's an opportunity as well. Only $89, even include your lunch. So we get you all day, but we get to show you both for-profit, nonprofit, manufacturing, the ins and the outs of Stark County.
And that would be for someone who really has no time but wants to do something with Leadership Stark County.
Right.
What a brilliant idea. It just seems like you've come up with more and more. It's expanded way beyond what it used to be 31 years ago.
It has. So we do customized programming as well. Stephanie Warren is a Gallup StrengthsFinder certified coach. And then along with my expertise with executive coaching, we work together to facilitate and teach organizations both for and nonprofit about StrengthsFinder and how do you build a strong team based upon those strengths, right? How do you interview better? What questions do you ask related to strengths? So we do all different types of programming, whether it's with youth, with Canton City Schools, we're doing their Youth Leadership Academy, all the way to our Signature and our 31-year program.
So you're doing some things with Leadership Academy with young people as well?
Yes.
Talk about that in our closing moments.
Yes. So with Canton City Schools, 2 years ago, they received a grant, and they were so gracious to include us in that, where we get the students for 4 days, and we are teaching them some critical components of leadership within the schools and within their homes. So we give them exposure to the community, but we also give them opportunities to connect with local leaders from the government, nonprofit, and for-profit sector, and they get to see what does leadership look like, and really more importantly, we energize them and engage them to stay connected here in Stark County. So showing them what leadership looks like.
Awesome. Fascinating stuff.
Yes,
how can people get in
you.
touch with you, Jen, in case they'd like to talk to you more about anything that we've talked about?
So I would say go to our website for leadershipstarkcounty.org. All of our programs are on there, and we have plenty of news and updates. So feel free to either connect that way. All my contact information is on there. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to any of us at Leadership.
Jennifer Hill, thank you so much for all you do in our community.
Thank you.